Okay, so I think without further ado, let us put our palms together and pay respects to our teacher, the Buddha, before our Dhamma talk. Okay, now together, Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, so welcome everyone to today's Wesak session. Okay, so I would like to start off with by sharing a story from the Dhammapada. Okay, so this is the Dhammapada, verse 194. Sukho Buddhana Mupado Sukha Saddhamma Desana Sukha Sanghasa Samagi Samaganam Tapo Sukho. Okay, what is the meaning? It means happy is the arising of a Buddha. Happy is the exposition of the Arya or noble Dhamma. Okay, happy is the harmony amongst the Sangha. Happy is the practice of those in harmony. Okay, so it means that those that are practicing in harmony, they are enjoying and being happy. Okay. So what is the origin of this Dhamma verse? So it was during the Buddha's time. There was one time when the Buddha was staying in this Jetavana monastery. So this Jetavana monastery, if you guys ever go to India, it is in Sravasti. In the olden days in Pali, we call Savatthi. Okay, so the Buddha was staying there, and the Buddha recited this verse with reference to many bhikkhus. So what is it? During that time, 500 bhikkhus, monks, they were discussing the question. And it's a very important question, even for now. I think throughout mankind, many have asked this very important question. And the question is, what is happiness? Okay. Then these bhikkhus, these 500 bhikkhus, they were also discussing about this question. What is happiness? And they realized that happiness meant different things to different people. You see, some people, to some people, to have the riches and glory of that like a king is happiness. To some people, sensual pleasure is happiness. But to some, to just have rice cooked with meat is happiness already. Okay? So when they were talking and discussing among themselves, our Buddha came in. Then the Buddha asked, "Oh, bhikkhus, what are you discussing about?" Then after learning about the subject of their talk, so the Buddha said, "Oh, bhikkhus, all the pleasures you have mentioned, they do not get you out of the round of rebirth. In this world, these are happiness." Okay? So the first one is the arising of a Buddha. The opportunity to hear the noble Dhamma. And then the Sangha is harmony. This is also happiness. And also those that are practicing their harmony, this is happiness. Okay? And the Buddha recited this Pali stanza, Sukho Buddhanu Mun Pado Sukha Sadama Desana Sukha Sanghasa Samagi Samaganan tapo sukho. Okay? So let us look a little bit inside this Dhamma verse. Happy is the arising of a Buddha. Why is it that when a Buddha arises, it is an occasion for happiness? Well, of course, because throughout throughout the rounds of rebirth, we and also beings, we have been wandering around in this round of rebirth, taking things that are unhappy to be happy, and taking things that are happy to be unhappy. Isn't that so? Huh? And when the Buddha arises, the Buddha is able to teach us what are the things that really leads to true happiness, and what are the things that on the surface it gives you happiness, but ultimately it gives you a suffering result. Right? We have hope in finding true happiness. Not the happiness that, now I'm happy, then after that something changed and not happy, then after that change again, happy, then something changed, not happy. That one is not to say that one has no happy feeling, but it is not perfect, isn't it? It is very subject to many variable factors, and when the factors change, then we may suffer because of this. So the Buddha gave us, because of the arising of the Buddha, it gives us hope in finding true happiness. Of course, this true happiness is not just happy feeling, but in what is really beneficial for us. And is the total cessation of our mental defilements, our mental causes of suffering. Isn't that so? And in order to do that, we have to practice and ultimately be able to attain Nibbana. So without the rising of the Buddha, we don't know how to go to Nibbana. We don't know how to be happy. Sometimes we may reach a certain level of happiness, but sometimes we feel empty also. Isn't that so? Even if you were to enjoy the pleasures of a king, and the pleasures of the richest man or woman in the world, but they also get bored. They have to keep finding some things to do. Isn't that so? To fill up that bottomless hole of craving, right? You may want to get a new bike. After you get a new bike, you want a new car. After you get a new car, you want a new house. After you want a new house, you want to get a new sound system, and then you want to get a new again. It's always chasing and always chasing. Of course, to different degrees for different people, right? Yeah. So sexual pleasures are, the Buddha say, are like bones without the meat. So they just smell good. Of course, they still smell good, but they make you crave for more. And when you do not satisfy this craving in our heart, then we suffer. Or when it changes, when the smell changes, we suffer. Right? So that is why the rising of a Buddha is a very happy occasion, because it gives us hope to be free from all this nonsense. Okay? And the second one, happy is the exposition of the noble truth, of the noble Dhamma. Why is that so? You see, when we don't know what to do, and when some people tell us what to do, how to solve a problem, how to solve the difficulties in our life, we feel happy, isn't it so? We feel free from suffering. That is the function of the Noble Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha. Okay? Whenever we have negative emotions, whenever we get jealous, whenever we get tired with life, tired with house chores, tired with our spouses, tired with our children, tired with human relationships, where do we go? Usually people go to sensual pleasures, isn't it? So go dancing lah, go karaoke lah, go drinking lah, right? But those only distract us from the real cause of suffering. And when the triggers are still there, whenever we meet with ticks, the triggers again, then we suffer. Isn't that so? But when we learn this noble Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha, it really helps us. Whether we can do it or not is another thing, but it really helps us to understand, oh, okay, if I encounter this negative emotion, if I'm having this hassle if I'm suffering from the hassles of life, work, house chores, worry, anxiety, etc. Oh, if I do this and plant this seed, oh, okay, and use the law of cause and effect to my advantage to change my life for the better. Then in this way, I will not suffer any suffering from it. I will go towards happiness. It will solve the teachings of the Buddha will solve our problems at the root. So when you have a problem and somebody really gives you the key, the right antidote, the right solution to your problem, we feel happy, isn't it so? We feel grateful, and when we apply it, and we are able to apply it, and then our problem gets solved. Well done. It's very happy, isn't it so? Right? So that is why when an exposition of the Dhamma, of the Noble Dhamma is given, it is a happy occasion. It is time for happiness. Okay? Happy is the harmony amongst the Sangha. This is the third one. Okay? So the Sangha are disciples of the Buddha. Why is it that harmony amongst the Sangha brings happiness? Because people see hope in living the Dhamma, living the noble teachings of the Buddha that the Buddha taught. Of course, you may say, oh, but Bhante, I've been to many monasteries, and then I saw that there were still many problems and all that. Yes. But you see, when the Sangha is harmony, there will be problems, there will be differences of ideas, there will be sometimes some flare-ups. But if generally the Sangha is practicing in harmony, then actually it gives the lay people a lot of hope. And also when the Sangha is practicing harmoniously, it is a higher probability that they are living out the Dhamma that the Buddha taught, and also they are able to purify the defilements and be able to live harmoniously with others. And these are examples that the Buddha's teachings are being lived out, are being practiced in this present era. So it gives the lay people hope also. Just imagine you go to a monastery and you see the Sangha, monks fighting with monks, nuns fighting with nuns, using bitter words, using angry words, shouting at each other, playing politics. You feel you don't feel very faithful, right? You don't have that sense of faith, isn't it so? And in fact, for some, they feel disgusted and they want to just avoid the monastery. But you see, when there is harmony amongst the sangha, devotees, when they see this harmonious sangha, and then they feel inspired, they feel happy to associate with harmonious people, people that not just want them to the to say the things that they want or to do the things that they want, but having tolerance, having patience, having forbearance, and having respect for people of different ideas, different values, different life habits. And when there's a community like this, and they are following the Dhamma, they're practicing the Dhamma well, gives a lot of happiness and benefits to to devas and deities, and to humans, and to the lay devotees as well. So that is why when the sangha is harmonious, it is a happy vocation. And the last one, happy is the practice of those in harmony. So for those in harmony, harmony means there's no anger, there's no aversion, there's no rejection towards each other. Just imagine, like in our home, then maybe because of our differences in ideas, maybe we are being crushed by the hassles of life. Maybe we are faced with a life and death situation. Maybe we are faced with very difficult, very stressed life situation. And then on top of that, there's still arguments. When you come home, just argue, 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 negative emotion, negative emotion, negative emotion. Is it happy? No, right? But if we train ourselves to learn to be harmonious, we train ourselves to have the strong Dhamma. If we train ourselves to have strong Dhamma, strong qualities, so that we are able to manage our emotions, we are able to relate to people, to our family members, to our relatives, friends, etc., our colleagues at work, with harmony, with non-anger, non-aversion, with friendliness. It is very happy, isn't it? So it's a very happy life. So that is why happy is the practice of those in harmony. Now we have not. I think Ravi Khan there's going to be another session of the Coolinghearts reflections, loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, equanimity. For those who have practiced this and developed this until into the level where it is part of our character, part of our mental habits, where it has given us happiness. Just observe it. The practice is correct, then generally people will be happier after practicing it. Right? So this kind of practice it brings a lot of happiness, the development of spiritual qualities. Okay, so that's why it is very important and very beneficial for us to be able to develop it until it becomes a habit, until it becomes part of us, part of ourselves. And when we are able to use these spiritual qualities to help us to manage our emotions, naturally our life will be happier. Okay, so many people today, today we met with a family. Last time very good and very polite and very happy and very friendly, very friendly girl. Then towards her parents and caregiver. Caregiver means the auntie who took care of them, took care of this girl and her brother for since young. But after having a boyfriend, then after that the attitude change, and then they suffer. Then the auntie suffer, the daughter suffer, brother also suffer because of negative emotions. So that is why in relationships, in families, etc., negative emotions really destroys the relationships and the families. Mm. That is why it's very important for us to be able to develop these spiritual qualities in order to have peace within ourselves and also without, outside of ourselves, not without, but outside of ourselves. Then we can be happy. Okay? So if we are not happy, we have to ask, oh, do I have these qualities? Am I practicing the Buddha's Dhamma? You know, like just now we were saying, many people when they have negative emotions, where do they go? They go for sensual pleasures in order to distract them. How many of us go back to the Dhamma? Go back to Dhamma to look for the answer. Go back to Dhamma to look for the solution to our problems, to our negative emotions. This one have to develop into a habit one, because usually sometimes when negative emotions come, if we do not have enough mindfulness, then we just get dragged by it, dragged into the whirlpool of negative emotions, and we forgot about Dhamma. So very important for us as disciples of the Buddha, is whenever we have problems, the Dhamma is there. Go back to the Dhamma to look for solutions. Whether it's listening to a Dhamma talk, whether it's listening to a guided meditation or guided contemplation, or any one of the Coolinghearts reflection, or whether it is looking for wise and noble friends in the Dhamma to ask about their opinions. Always go back to Dhamma uh, whenever we have problems to look for solutions, because because if we are able to practice the Dhamma that the Buddha taught, then our problems can be solved. Maybe maybe the outside situation, the phenomenon, maybe you do not have enough money, maybe you have stress in your job, maybe you have stress with life, maybe you have no customer, maybe you're just bored. Maybe outside one may not be able to solve, but actually if we go back to the Dhamma and we use Dhamma to change our mind and our perception and our feelings to that phenomenon, then actually even though you may be stressed, you may have job stress, you may have career stress, you may have family stress, but stress is stress, but it doesn't drain you. It doesn't drain you. What drains us usually is negative emotions, negative thoughts, negative emotions, negative unpleasant feelings due to negative emotions, isn't it? So but if we learn if we learn to go back to the Dhamma, go back to our teacher, oh Buddha, please help me. In Buddha's teaching, what are the things that can help me solve our problem? Then we go that, then we are able to solve, or at least look at the matter or relate to the matter with Dhamma, or from the point of view from Dhamma. Then even though our body may be painful, our job, our job may be stressful, money not enough, care not enough, people care for me not enough, people love for me not enough. No problem. Because we have already resolved the conflict, yeah, and the negative emotion in our hearts. And sometimes, even though there may be uncomfortable feeling present, but with Dhamma, we're able to relate and look at that feeling with kindness, with gentleness, with loving kindness, or any of the qualities. Okay? So that is why, for those who are doing this practice that leads to harmony, whether in a family, in a community, in work, they will be happy. It is a happy occasion. It is a time to be happy when they practice, when people practice the practice of the harmonious, the practice that leads to harmony. Okay, so we have talked about this. Happy is today's topic is about happy. Happy is the rising of a Buddha. Happy is the exposition of the noble Dhamma. Happy is the harmony amongst the Sangha. Happy is the practice of those in harmony. Okay? So, anything else that we can talk about happiness? Because why are we talking about happiness today? Because the Buddha sacrificed so much, for what? If those who attended my last Vesak, the last year's Vesak, the Buddha sacrificed so much for what? Sacrifice have to give away, have to dana, have to dana their property lah, dana the hand lah, leg lah, eye lah, blood lah, internal organs lah, etc. lah, have to sacrifice the life lah. All for what? For the benefit and happiness of the Buddha himself and also beings, which comes down to us. We are also part of beings, Yeah. For what? So that's why very important to research on happiness that the Buddha taught. Okay. So that's why in the Anguttara Nikaya, there's a chapter called the happiness chapter. Okay, there's a chapter called the happiness chapter, and we can look at some suttas inside this happiness chapter. So in this chapter, the Buddha says, because there are two kinds of happiness. What two? Happiness of a layperson and the happiness of one who has gone forth. It means one who has ordained, gone into homelessness. Okay, these are the two kinds of happiness. Of these two, the happiness of one who has gone forth is better, or foremost. Okay, so what are happiness of a householder? Here, the happiness of a householder means the happiness derived from sensual pleasure fulfillment and worldly comforts, rooted in the enjoyment of all desirable things. Okay, and what is Sambhaja happiness? It is the happiness of one who has gone forth into homelessness. Okay, that means the happiness of one who has gone forth, or the happiness based on renunciation or monastic life. So comparing the happiness from sensual pleasure fulfillment and the happiness based on renunciation or monastic life, the happiness based on renunciation is better, like that. Okay, but why is that so? Why is that so? And what can we do for ourselves is it possible that a lay person like our listeners here able to experience it? Okay. So with this, we can go to one of the suttas in the long discourses of the Buddha, and a very famous sutta. Okay, it's called the Fruits of Recluseship Sutta, Samnyapala Sutta. Okay, so in this Samnyapala Sutta, where is the origin of this sutta? So it was said that there was once there was a powerful king. He wanted to ask, he wanted to know what is the fruit, what is the result, the benefit of recluseship. Okay, so he went to many teachers, but they couldn't give him a very. He wasn't satisfied with the answers. Then he went to Buddha, and then the Buddha slowly guided him. First the Buddha asked, said, "Okay, oh king, uh, let's say you have a servant in your castle, uh, working for you, or a slave. Then after that, one day he became a monk, and then he's practicing well. He keeps morality. He's good. He try to purify his mind. So, what will you do?" So the king said, "Oh, I will rise up. I will rise up for him when he comes. I will support him with the four requisites. So four requisites are clothing or robes, food, and then dwelling or a place to stay or shelter, and medicine." Okay, so I will support him and like that. So the Buddha said, "Yeah, yes, king. This is one of the one of the results of being a recluse." Like that. Yeah? The king asks again, "Oh, is there any other benefit other than this?" Then the Buddha slowly, and gradually told the king, gradually, as a recluse, there's a person out of faith, maybe he has gone forth into the homelessness, then uh, restrained by the Padimokkha, which is the monk's rules and regulation. And actually not it's not like a rule or regulation. It's training actually. Training to be mindful, training to abstain from the things, from doing or saying the things that hurt us and hurt others. Okay? So the Buddha said, "Oh, restrained by Padimokkha, and then by being restrained, by being restrained and being perfect in morality, then they experience this happiness of blamelessness." Okay, so for recluses or for monks and nuns, after they go forth and they restrain themselves by the training, then they experience this happiness from blamelessness. Hmm? In practicality, a lay person who keeps their precepts well and abstain from doing evil and saying evil things or unwholesome things, and or not doing unwholesome things and not saying unwholesome things, they also experience this happiness of blamelessness to a certain level also. Okay, so this is one thing that a layperson can experience, one happiness that a layperson can experience in this present life. Okay, then after being perfect in morality, the Buddha taught, okay, then the bhikkhus, they restrain their sense doors, the eye sense, the uh, eye sense, the ear sense, the nose sense, the tongue sense, the body sense, etc. Okay, in order to prevent defilements from arising. And when defilements do not arise, what happens? Sufferings are reduced, And when sufferings are reduced, happiness comes easily. Okay? Yeah, so when we restrain our sense doors, whatever that we see, hear, smell, taste, feel, uh, we do not arise negative emotions because of them, because of the contact between the objects and our senses. Then actually a lot of happiness there. So sometimes if you see the news nowadays, the news, wow, up and down stock market up and down, high blood pressure, sometimes for some people up and down, up and down. Then our happiness, our heart also up and down. Sometimes if like that, then if no need to see or read, then don't see and read lah. There's one monk during the Buddha's dispensation, during the Buddha's time. He's also a great arahant. So he practice is the foremost in sense restraint. So whatever that wherever that he go, before before he raise up his head to see or hear something or smell something or taste something or touch something, he'll ask himself, oh, will I arise defilements because of this? Or if I will, then I do not do. If I will, I do not do. Like that. That's why he was the foremost. That means the best in restraining the sense doors. Okay, like that. So you see, when you keep morality, we experience keep our precepts well and do not do evil things. We experience the happiness from blamelessness. And when we restrain our sense doors, don't kepo, everyday busybody, want to gossip, want to listen to gossip this, gossip that, this one for lay people, then actually you also prevent a lot of suffering from arising, isn't that so? No? Like that, Uh, and then after that, the Buddha say, then the bhikkhu practices mindfulness and clear comprehension. That means when they are mindful, they are alert moment to moment. When they are wearing their robe, they know that they are wearing their robe. When they are walking, they know that they are walking. When they are standing, they know that they are standing. Abiding in mindfulness and clear comprehension, moment to moment. Okay. So this one for lay people, is it possible that lay people can experience this now? Well, actually, yes. When we are developing these six qualities in the Cooling Hearts reflection, it's also training our mindfulness. And when we have mindfulness, when we have strong mindfulness, whenever we have negative emotions, we know that, hey, now I'm not feeling so good. Some people don't feel good and then they just get stuck into the whirlpool and then they just explode. But with mindfulness and through this development of the spiritual qualities, then actually we have a break. You have a circuit breaker in the this was what they used, the term that they used during the COVID in Singapore. They call it the circuit breaker. So at least we have a circuit breaker. If not, something happens, see already not happy, hear already not happy, wow, already explode already. Then sometimes after that you regret what you say. Especially if you say some hurting words, like don't come and find me anymore. I hate you, like that. Very, very, very. It reflects the emotion at that time, but that is not a very wise emotion. Isn't that so? So with the practice of these spiritual qualities, one is able to be free from all the explosion of the negative emotions. This for lay people, for monks and nuns, monastic, all works both ways. Okay, and then being contented. The Buddha say, being contented with four requisites, being contented with the monk life. So when we talk about contentment, and then we talk about gratefulness, being grateful. So, how much gratitude do we have in our life for the small, small things that we have? Hmm? If we are always grateful, if we have this quality of gratefulness, Hey, why you not happy then? If you are not happy, you have to ask yourself, hey, am I grateful? Am I contented or not? Like that. Then after that, the Buddha say, so this contentment, contented with four requisites and contentment in life, it gives a lot of happiness also, isn't that so? Then after that, the Buddha say, find a secluded place, abide, free from the five hindrances, to be without debt. Without debt, no kiam xiao. So, five hindrances, the first one, kama chanda, craving for sensual pleasures. Second one, anger. Third one, sloth and torpor, that means sleepiness and laziness. Number fourth, restlessness and regret, self-blame, etc. And the fifth one, doubt. When we have all these negative emotions, actually we are in debt like that, no? So you have to keep paying, keep paying with time, keep paying, have to devote a lot of time to fulfilling or following these hindrances, negative, unwholesome qualities, like that. But when we develop and purify our mind to be free from the five hindrances, then actually you feel more free. And at this time, and actually before that also can, but at this time you start to feel the liberation from defilements also. Then after that, the Buddha say, okay, then after that, because you should enter, try to practice the jhanas. And then after that, after practicing the jhanas, of course, when you experience jhana, your mind is always happy, happy, happy. Uh, then after that, direct it towards knowing and seeing, direct it towards understanding reality. Understanding reality help us to let go of a lot of wrong views and attachments, and then after that, we will experience happiness. And then directed towards psychic powers. Lay people can practice if they have many time, a lot of time. Retired already, can practice. Then after that, directed towards the destructions of the defilements by penetrating Four Noble Truths. And then after that, after penetrating Four Noble Truths, they become arahants. Then they are totally free from suffering, mental suffering. Okay, and also from the rounds of rebirth. So actually, there are different levels to the happiness given by the Buddha. If you want to practice to the highest goal, the arahant, the total cessation of suffering, the Buddha has the way, as recorded in the Dhamma. If you just want to have a good rebirth the next life, Buddha also have the way. If you want to be happy this life, Buddha also have the way. All recorded inside the teachings of the Buddha. So it's actually whether we go and practice it or not only lah, like that. And whether we go and find our Dhamma, go and find Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha for help when we have difficulties, stress in life, family problems, or we go to craving, anger, and delusion when we encounter these sufferings. We go to sensual pleasures or whatever. If we do that, then of course the triggers will be there, the buttons will be there. When it's triggered, of course we will fall into unhappiness. Okay. So the teachings of the happiness for different stages, different levels, whether monastics or lay, has been taught by the Buddha in the Dhamma. So may all of us be able to practice this. May all of us be able to learn all these teachings that leads to happiness, and may all of us during this Vesak be able to not only spend a happy Vesak, but also from this Vesak to the next Vesak to the next Vesak to the last Vesak and to our last death moment in this very life. May all of us be able to practice with the teachings of the Buddha that leads to happiness. May all of us be able to be happy every day, and may all of us be able to attain the happiness that all of us want. But hopefully, everyone will be able to attain path, fruition, and nibbana, the ultimate happiness, as soon as possible. for this life or in the future life.